Here is exactly how the National Home Inspector Examination works and how to pass it. 200 questions, 4 hours, and a passing score that is not a percentage, which is the first thing most candidates get wrong. The NHIE is owned by the Examination Board of Professional Home Inspectors, EBPHI, an independent not-for-profit founded in 1999. Independent is doing real work in that sentence. EBPHI has no dues-paying members and sells no training courses. It exists to write one high-stakes exam and nothing else, and that single fact explains most of what follows. You sit it on a computer at a proctored test center, 6 days a week in most places across the United States and Canada. PSI administers it in most states. Florida, Nevada, and Texas use Pearson VUE. The fee is $225 in most states, but confirm that when you register. And if you pass and you hold GI Bill education benefits, the Department of Veterans Affairs may reimburse the fee. 200 multiple-choice questions in 4 hours, but only 175 of them count. 25 are unscored pretest questions being field tested for a future version of the exam, and you are never told which 25, so nothing on the paper is safe to coast on. And calculators are not permitted. Now the passing score, and there is no percentage. The NHIE is scaled scored, like the SAT and the ACT. Your raw score is converted onto a scale from 200 to 800, and 500 passes. Several versions circulate at once, and scaling makes them comparable, correcting for a version whose questions ran harder. So the number of right answers you need is not fixed. It moves with the version you sit. That 500 is not arbitrary either. A panel of practicing inspectors rates every question for difficulty, and a psychometrician converts those ratings into the cut score. That is criterion-referenced scoring, and it means you are not competing against the other candidates. Everyone who reaches the standard passes. There is no curve. Eligibility is where this exam is unusual. EBPHI sets no national prerequisite at all, no course hours, no minimum years in the trade. Your state is the gate. The board's 2026 position paper puts the NHIE in 37 states plus several Canadian provinces, each writing its own rules around it. 7 of those states make you register through their own contracted administrator rather than the generic national one, and 3 of the 7 bolt state-specific questions onto the national exam. Book the wrong version and you have wasted the fee and the day. If the day goes badly, the rules are forgiving. You may retake as many times as you like, unless your own state limits it, but you must wait 30 days between attempts and pay again each time. Nothing is held against you. So what is actually on it? The content outline splits the exam into 3 domains. Inspecting the property and its building systems is 70%. Analysis of findings and reporting is 20%. Professional responsibilities is 10%. Inside that 70% sit 13 separate inspection tasks, and their shape is the most useful thing on the blueprint. The biggest is electrical, at 7%. The smallest, cooling and interior components, are 4%. That is the entire range. There is no domain worth half the exam and no system you can quietly write off. Many certification exams reward you for finding the 2 topics that carry the marks. This one deliberately does not. Now the fact that should reshape how you prepare. The NHIE is not built on any association's standards of practice. Not the ASHI standards, not Inturan ACHIs, not your state associations. EBPHI explains why on its own website. Membership organizations and for-profit companies have a built-in conflict of interest when they also test the people who pay them. The exam comes instead from a role delineation study, a formal survey of what working inspectors actually do, with every question tied to a published source. What it is written from is published. EBPHI's own 2 manuals, the Mechanical and Content Manual and the Structural and Business Manual, are the primary references. The outline also lists the International Residential Code, the National Electrical Code, and NFPA 101. But read carefully what that does not mean. A home inspection is not a code compliance inspection. Those codes teach you how buildings are supposed to work. They do not make you a code official. 3 real questions from the Quibank. First, which statement best defines a general home inspection, a non-invasive visual examination of a dwelling's readily accessible installed systems? 4 limits hide in that one sentence: visual, non-invasive, readily accessible, and a snapshot of a single day. It is not a code ruling, not a warranty, and not technically exhaustive, and the wrong options are built out of exactly those 3 mistaken ideas. Second, structural. In a basement with concrete block foundation walls, you find a continuous horizontal crack along a mortar joint near mid-height, with the courses above it shifted inward. What does that indicate? Lateral pressure from the backfill soil, usually made worse by water saturating it. A wall pushed sideways bends like a beam and cracks near its mid-height. Settlement and frost move a wall vertically instead, leaving vertical, diagonal, or stair-step cracks. And notice you got no photograph. This exam describes conditions in words. Third, electrical, the heaviest task on the blueprint. The label gives 1 ampere rating, the main disconnect handle is marked lower, and the meter enclosure carries a 3rd number. What service capacity do you report? The lowest rated component in the chain. Capacity is a series characteristic. The current passes through every part, so the weakest link sets what the service can genuinely carry, whatever a single label claims. 4 ways to prepare. 1. Drill practice questions until the reasoning is automatic, and aim well above the line rather than at it, because the cut moves and a margin is your insurance. 2. Learn the vocabulary of scope exactly. Readily accessible, material defect, readily openable access panel. A whole question can turn on one of those. 3. Track your misses by task, because in a flat 4 to 7% band, your weakest system costs you as much as any other. 4. Read for the inspector's action. Many questions ask not what is wrong, but what you should do about it, and the answer is usually to report the condition and recommend evaluation by a qualified professional. To recap, 200 questions, 175 scored, 4 hours, no calculator. A scaled score from 200 to 800, 500 to pass, and no percentage anywhere. 70% of the exam is building systems spread almost evenly across 13 tasks, so there is no shortcut. It is not built on anyone's standards of practice. And your state, not EBPHI, decides what else you need. Practice all 6 systems free at .com/en/home-inspector. Structure and foundation, roofing and exterior, electrical, plumbing, HVAC and ventilation, and standards, ethics and reporting in English, Chinese, or Spanish, with a full explanation on every answer.